It is a wonderful series, and so my first question for you is, what has it been like seeing the love for this series, and especially your characters, the brothers, all these years later?
Astonishing. I don't think when we started out with this thing 20 years ago. 21 years ago.
How many people in this room are under 21 years old?
You're not under 21.
I thought you said.
You're watching the show.
Oh, sorry.
We never imagined that it would have that kind of impact or staying power. So the fact that it just continues to touch our lives in so many ways, and you guys are so supportive as we go on to do other things as well. It's just a blessing, and one that was unexpected, but we're grateful for it every day.
Every day. We started out as a little show, and it's always been your show. We always said that from the beginning. It's always been the fan show. It's a bond that all of us have, right? It's a bond that when we all are old, we're all still gonna have this bond. It'll be old and wrinkly, it'll be great. We'll still have this together, and I think that that's so special. I don't take that lightly. I don't take that for granted. I remember back in season 1 when, we'd have 16 fans outside the River Club, and then that grew quickly to 400, 500, 1,000 people at the end of the night. We get done shooting for 15, 16-hour days, just playing basketball all day. We would go, although at the time, not everyone had camera phones, and we would go and say hi and take pictures and sign autographs for everybody that was there all day. And that's literally where it started.
The show, it's very special. It's very special to a lot of people. And so what would you say, from your perspective, interacting with fans throughout the years when the show is airing and now, what would you say resonates with audience and continues to draw viewers to this day?
It's a great question.
I think what stands out about this show so very much is that everyone in this room can identify with a character or a situation on this show. Everyone looks at this show and goes, but that's me. I've either been through that or I feel like them. And when we show different scenarios in life and different trials and tribulations that we all have to go through, we feel connected to something. And then we go on that adventure and we want to see how they overcome these obstacles. And there's so much love and so much hard work went into this. This really was a labor of love for all of us. And so I think it shows, and it shows with you guys.
Yeah, I guess just sort of dovetailing on what you said, it's the love that went into making the show, I think, that you can kind of feel. And it's where we shot it. Wilmington is a really special place. And it became, sort of a character of its own. And people continue to go there and check it out. And I feel like you can feel that. There was just something special that went behind, making every single season of it. And there was chemistry, you can't really write that. You just sort of, I guess they just cast it and try to get lucky every single time. And I think that we all got extremely lucky.
Yeah, Wilmington's magic. Anyone been there? There we go.
Did anyone go there specifically for OTH?
If you haven't, make your pilgrimage. I highly recommend it. The mark of the show is all over the city. And there is an energy in the air, from the moment you land at Wilmington Airport. You come out, I was going to call it ILM, but no one would know what that means. You get out at ILM and you just smell the air. There's an energy and there's a spark when you're walking around the little downtown and you go out to the beach, and that energy and that kind of vivacious nature is what went into the show. And it's almost like it was captured on film, the aura was in the film. It's pretty cool. Which, by the way, when we started, I think there was 4 gates when we first started with that airport. There's 10 now.
It's they just need to extend the runway.
Airplane's too big, can't land there, sorry guys.
And so, since the show has aired, with time comes perspective. Were there any specific storylines that, now that time has passed, that you look back and reflect on and are like, I connect with that more, or I understand that more, because now, there's been a bit more life experience, you've gone out, you've ventured,
Yeah. Well, ever since I got kidnapped, I think I really...
You couldn't save the question for that.
That's a really good question. I mean, got anything for that?
Yes, I always think about thing one and thing two. Now, kids, watch out for thing one and thing two. We watch a lot of Dr. Seuss, thus. I think that more or less the importance of the show as a whole has really manifested with me. It's one of those things where, I look into your eyes, and I look into your eyes, and I look into your eyes, and I see the effect. And I see the love that we all share. And I think that that adventure and storytelling that we all went on, it just resonates with me more, how important a show can be, how important something can be. It's not me, it wasn't James, it's us, right? It's a whole story. We all went on that adventure, and we all brought it to life. I think that's what I realize more now than ever.
Yeah. I think, I remember when Nathan made the decision to stop pursuing his basketball career so that he could, be a good father. I remember being like a little bit frustrated because I was like, why can't you have it both ways? Like, there's plenty of NBA players with families.
Fair.
But there was other things involved in his decision, and the stakes were high for his health and the well-being of his family. And I think ever since in my own personal life, ever since getting married and realizing, that it just, you start to put the other person first, no matter what. It's like that your whole perspective shifts. And so I think I look back on the way that I thought about that, when we were actually shooting it, being like a little bit frustrated. I'm like, now I get it. Yeah, now I probably make the same decision. Yeah.
I look back at hairstyles.
Now we're going to talk about things we've learned.
And I just think, wow, how did they let me go on screen like that?
Did you dirty?
You look good. You look great.
I'll take it. But boy, season 4 was an oopsie, I'll tell you.
As long as you know.
It was this was like my college. And I was fighting against the man. And I remember we wrapped season 1 and I'm like, I'm freedom! I shaved my head into a mohawk. And I don't know what it was. It was like the only rebellious thing I had in me. And I just started doing all these weird things with hair, thinking that I was like, oh, well, we're gonna change you people. Whoops.
And now it's on screen forever.
Now it's forever.
Yeah.
Now, we know we have so many great characters in One Tree Hill. All of them have their highs and their lows, go through roller coasters. I don't know if there's a character that has gone through so many ups and downs, like Dan. And so...
Mostly downs.
mostly downs. Mostly, yes. No, you are correct. There might be like a moment in another season. Okay. Anyway, how would you say his influence, and how would you say that? Sorry. How would you say?
You need a bigger font.
I do need a bigger font. Oh my gosh. How do you think he shaped who Nathan and Lucas ended up becoming, if at all?
You got his hair.
Had an influence, and if anything, maybe it was more like I'm not going to do what you do, but...
Yeah. Thank you. You just led me to the well. That's the right answer. I think there was a lot in Nathan that was like, Dad learned exactly what kind of father and husband he didn't want to be. And so he set out to, I think every big decision that he made in life probably, was informed by the mistakes that his father made. So, I think if you have a rough upbringing, it can go a couple ways. It can go terribly, or you can sort of just resolve to make sure that you do everything the opposite way of what you're exposed to when you're young. And I think Nathan, because of Haley, took that route.
And a little Luke.
And a lot of Luke.
Yeah, I think what you learn is that you as a human being have the power of choice, right? You have the freedom of choice to make your own choices, to choose your path, and it doesn't need to be dictated by your parents. It doesn't need to be dictated by the generations that came before you. Sometimes you have to carry, and I don't want to use the word burden, but you have to carry the weight of maybe what they built, but you also can find a way to let that weight die with you so that you don't pass it on to your kids or to the next generation. And I think that is very much something that these 16 and 17-year-old kids had to deal with, and that they had to register and make quality decisions, not always the right decision. And just, fight against it. Fight against the wrong, the negative. And Dan Scott. There it is. when he pulled the trigger on Keith, that moment, I was like, but how are you going to bring him back? Like, there's no redemption. And the conversation it was a debate of, you give me enough time, anyone can be redeemed. Watch. And it was like a challenge. I remember the challenge that he put on his shoulders at the time. And so I ended up getting in a debate with somebody, I don't know if they're here, but yesterday they were like, no, Dan totally redeemed himself. And I was like, he's a murderer.
His own brother.
He abandoned me. But it was nice to see that perspective, It was really nice to see the perspective that, like, mission accomplished to a certain extent on what was set out to be.
Yeah, it's like the fact that you can ask that question, and there's people that will see both sides of it, I think is like a testament to how well that worked out. Like, I don't think there needs to be a solid answer to that question. There just needs to be a conversation about it. That's what keeps us coming back. It's a testament to how Paul played the role.
Paul crushed it. He did.
It's fantastic.
And like in shows like these, stakes can be high, but at that point in the show, like that felt next level, like high stakes for you in that moment, or like when you found out about what was going to happen. What was your reaction? It was like, whoa.
It was kind of gloomy, wasn't it? Yeah, it was weird. Because it was like, that episode was just so heavy for so many reasons, but also it's like, we're not going to see Craig anymore. Like, it just felt bizarre because he had been with us and he's part of the DNA of the show and was one of all of our favorite characters from the pilot. So it was bizarre, yeah.
We felt the same.
I was crushed.
Yeah.
I was crushed. I think I probably, between me and Moira and I, we probably work with Craig the most.
Yeah.
And back actually when they were auditioning guys for Keith, Craig came in and I was reading with him, and I was a big fan of the program, which is a movie that Craig was in back in the 90s. It was awesome. He was the quarterback. Bruce Cannon. He was so good. There we go.
One program fan.
I love that movie.
Also,
It got a bad rap because of
Israel,
the stunt that they pulled in the middle of the movie, which is a terrible idea. Do you remember that moment? So the movie was supposed to be this huge blockbuster. Craig's the star of it. It's him. It's Christine Applegate.
Christina.
Christy Swanson.
Oh.
Christy Swanson. And Omar Epps.
Oh, yeah.
And they're in college, playing college football, and I'm a big football guy. And there's this moment where the quarterbacks are trying to learn how to take pressure because you're in the pocket and guys are running at you super fast. So Craig takes them all out into the middle of the freeway and he lays down on the dotted lines. And he goes, you want to feel pressure? Now this is pressure. And cars are flying by super fast, super fast, super fast. Movie's getting tons and tons of accolades. People love it. But week it comes out, a bunch of high school kids went and did that. Someone passed away, so they pulled the movie. they pulled the movie. They cut the scene out and then re-released the film and kind of crushed the movie. But like, Craig was, trust me, like that guy he's an actor, he's an artist, he's like, I mean, River runs through it, baby.
Yeah,
River runs through it.
he's a legend.
He's a legend. I love Craig. And when Craig had to go, I left. It crushed me, man, because he was like, he was my uncle. Like, he was like kind of like my dad on set. It was cool. I miss him. I miss him.
And so the next thing that I want to go into is one of the things that I think is very strong about the show and very fun to watch, which is the relationships. And so specifically, I have a question for you, James, and then a question for you, Chad, so I'll start with James. So, you know, when it comes to dramas and dramas of like the early 2000s, I feel like productions and writers loved experimenting and exploring different relationships. But obviously, as we know, Nathan and Haley, they were it from the beginning. They never faltered. They had their struggles, but they never faltered. What would you, like, why do you think that was? Why do you think it was so important that they withstood it all? And like, was there ever any consideration that they're like, maybe we'll try separating them for a little bit?
I feel like they toyed with it in a couple of different ways here and there, but first of all, the fans were, you know, they weren't happy. So I think that probably had some kind of influence, but yeah, you know, at the time, like I was so young, I didn't really understand what kind of thing I was even in, you know? Like I was just trying to sort of portray the role as written in the relationship as written, and I was really lucky to have Joy because she's such a great actress, and she's so spontaneous, and she always just got the best out of me. And so, you know, looking back on it though, I feel like to me, that relationship sort of represents that one couple that everybody knows that just like met when they were 15 and then they're just still together. And there was never a question, you know? And it's like, there's a little piece of us that roots for that. There's a little piece of us that sort of wishes like we had found that. And I think that they sort of, yeah, I think that they sort of represent that like one couple everyone knows that just, they saw it, they knew it, and they stuck it out. And they never had any interest in really exploring anything else. And so it's an anomaly and it's super rare, but it happens. And when it does, I think it's like, it warms your heart. And so that to me is what I sort of like see that relationship as.
Thank you.
I don't even know if that makes sense.
And then for Chad, before I go into your question, I just want to ask the audience, do we have any fans out there of Jake Jagielski?
Yeah! Jake was endgame. Sorry.
Oh, wow.
So based on that, but my question is like, we know that Lucas and Jagielski finally were able to be together. They went through so much. They went through so many ups and downs to finally be together. But in the beginning, you know, we saw different relationships, as I mentioned. We obviously saw Peyton with Jake, and it felt like that was a really good dynamic that they had going there. But obviously, like, you know, that character left the show. Do you think if that character had stayed on the show, that could have impacted the end game, the end result for Peyton and Lucas?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
No, I don't. I think we all knew how that story was going to end at the end of the pilot when Luke stares at Peyton and he says, "I'll be seeing you." In that one moment, it told me the entire relationship. And it told me that that is the story that time will tell, and it's endless love. And it started right there in that moment. And I just knew, you know? And I think so did Hill. Like, we both knew. And you have to go through those trials and tribulations, right? Because otherwise, it's like, okay, well, all right, what are we watching next? It was good. Yeah.
Cinderella story.
And on. Hey, we drove off into the sunset.
Another
It took us 6 years to
Hillary.
get there. Yeah, so I think that they were just two souls that were destined to be.
And so one of the great things about One Tree Hill was also the locations that the characters got to experience, one of them being Trick. And so for you, as Chad and James specifically, we're up to you to book music artists at Trick, who would you want to play?
Who would I want to play?
Who would you want to play?
Oh, what band would
What band would you want to play there?
I can't just name one. But I probably want the Foo Fighters to come.
Woo!
I'm surprised. Did we have? So that feels like a band that would have been on the show.
We missed out.
Yeah. Probably like LCD Sound System. Yeah. It's not gonna happen, but.
You never know, because at the time, it felt like really remarkable that the artists that did come on the show.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we got really lucky. And,
Oof.
it was a music-driven show, and I feel like it was from the beginning, right? And
From the beginning. Every episode was named after a song.
yeah, and so I think that like artists understood that and knew that like if they came on the show, there was going to be great exposure from a music-level audience. So yeah, we got really lucky to have some great bands on the show.
Yeah, I mean, people still talk about the soundtrack show all the time.
Who?
So.
Oh yeah.
I remember the year that they cut our budget and they had to take out the opening credits. Like W.T. Fork.
That is something that I feel like TV nowadays kind of misses, is like a good opening theme song. Just something that just at the minute you hear it, you're like, ah, yes, memories. I love that.
Crossing was the best theme song.
Which one?
Solid Crossing.
Okay.
You know,
What is
we
that?
actually hired our music supervisor from Tree. That's where
Well
our
done.
showrunner, yeah, she went and grabbed one of the people who's one of our music supervisors on Tree Hill to come do our music scores for Sullivan's.
We love
And that's why the music is
So good.
right. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Oh, just wait. Just wait.
Oh, that's the show he's on.
Now, taking a step away from One Tree Hill for a minute, you both have been in a number of projects before and since that show. And throughout the years, is there any project that you've worked on that really stands out to you? And it could be for anything, a project that stands out to you in the sense of like, I really learned and I really wrote on that, or like maybe it was just, that's really fun, I loved it.
This is an easy one for me because the show that I'm working on with Stephen Coletti and and we make it independently. It's an independent TV show that we make for very little money. We have no studio support or anything, but we don't normally get hired to do. And we really get to put a lot of ourselves into these characters. And so yeah, it's been an incredibly rewarding experience, and it's been the toughest thing, the toughest road we've ever chosen to go down, but definitely the most rewarding. And actually we're having a screening of the first episode of season 2. Shameless plug over.
Congrats to this man. Seriously, like, what an undertaking. Way to go, brother. Thanks, man. Jenny. You guys see it? It's tough. Like, I get asked a lot, what's my favorite show, what's the best role I've ever played, and there is no answer. I don't have an answer for any of that. There's different experiences for every character, every set you're on. Sometimes you're playing a great character, but it's a crappy set. Sometimes it's an amazing set, but a terrible movie. Whoa.
Security?
What did she say?
Yeah, I like Nick. I like Nick. He was a bad boy. It was fun for 5 minutes, but
I did hate him on Gilmore
I'll tell you,
Girls.
it's like I don't know. It's just a cultivation of everything, right? I love going to work. I try to instill in my kids. It's like I get to go to work. It's not I have to go to work right now. Every time, no matter what time it is, no matter what the job may be, it's like I get to go to work now. So getting up, having the opportunity to put air in my lungs, life in my step. I've got the will to move forward and to go do my job with pride, love, and respect, no matter what. That's what I look forward to, you know. So I couldn't pick just one, you know. I love doing Sun Records. It was a TV series that artistically fulfilled me so much, and that show should still be going. So good. And but there's just different varying degrees of everything.
And now I'm going to ask one more question, and then I'm going to open it up to the fans and the fan questions. We do have a microphone in the center aisle, and if you want to line up so that you can ask your question, you may do so.
Right there. You can hear me.
And so,
No, I can shake it.
very simple.
In the interest of time, please state your name, one question. That's it.
Thanks, Michael.
Thank you. And so the last question I have, and we have already touched upon this a little bit, but I do want to know if there is anything else you would like to share, and that would be any other upcoming projects you are working on personally, professionally, that you would like to share.
Yeah, everyone's doing great, obviously. We're trying to find a home for the show right now, and so, yeah, we're hoping to have it out in 2020, like later in 2024. And I played a small part in a film called Red Right Hand. Nice. Directed by the Downs brothers, who are longtime friends of mine. And it's a ripper of a film. So if you're looking for an action thriller, yeah.
Where can we watch that?
That is, right now, I think it's on VOD. So
It's everywhere.
Anywhere you can purchase.
Prime.
Prime. Thanks.
Thank you.
It's not. Damn. Too expensive. Fuck. Gosh. Busy, blessed, life is good. May 9th on Netflix is Mother of the Bride. I'm going to take you guys all on a little trip to Thailand with Benjamin Bratt, Brooke Shields, Miranda Cosgrove. Just a great fun movie. So go check that out. It's a beautiful romantic comedy.
Love that. Love a rom-com.
Season 2 of Sullivan's Crossing will be out this fall. Season 1 is streaming, but I keep hearing it gets jitters, so I'm gonna make some phone calls.
It's better in Canada.
Is it better?
In Canada.
On Canada. Yeah, Canada.
Yeah.
It's already on Canada. Get
So
it
good.
season 2, and it's so good.
So good.
Have you seen some of season 2?
Only the first episode because then I came here.
It's elevated so much
But
already.
we love you in Halifax, so we'll be back.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we should be back in July for season 3. See you soon. And I'm training for film right now. I can't say much about it, but basically from this moment on until Christmas, I'll be a busy elf. So,
Busy.
oh yeah,
elf.
life is good. Life is good. But check out Mother of the Bride and Sullivan's Crossing, and let me know what you think.
Hello.
Hi, my name's Jenny. You guys are awesome.
Jenny?
My question is for Chad because James, you already did it. But Chad, when are we going to see you on Drama Queens?
I don't know if I'm gonna be on Drama Queens.
That's not a good answer.
Busy.
No, like genuinely, I had just talked to Hillary actually. I spoke to Hillary 2 weeks ago, and we're trying to work it out to do the kind of loop of driving off into the sunset. There's just no time. Like literally, I'm here today, I'm playing tomorrow, completely Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Every single day from now until basically Christmas is work, which is super blessed, but also have a newborn, 2 other beautiful babies, and wife. So it's just a heavy load. Like when I talked to Hill, she was just like, there's no way we're gonna squeeze it in. And she's busy as well. And she's like, you know what? From a mom to a dad, I get it. Let's put a pin in it. We'll do something down the road. So
Awesome, thank you.
I hear a little bit Hillary in that.
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Elena.
Hi, Lena.
I was madly in love with Jake, but Peyton and Lucas needed to end up together. This question's a little bit more for Chad, just because you were involved, but in terms of high school shows just going crazy, Do you feel One Tree Hill walked so Riverdale could run?
We're getting softballs here, dude.
What did you say? I missed it. Everyone else heard it, and I'm like,
In the terms of like high school shows, just going kind of crazy, just trying everything. Like One Tree Hill did it, but then Riverdale really went there. Especially with your character on Riverdale.
join the farm. Yeah, no, look, I mean, that show was spectacular. And it was one of the best, most well-run shows I've ever been a part of. Like, talk about a professional crew, everybody. It's a total family there, and I loved every minute of being there. You got there, everyone's prepared, ready to go to work. Like, it was awesome. Yeah, they have more elaborate storylines. They have that freedom though, right? Because they're in the Archie universe. So they get that freedom. Like if we brought in, I mean, I guess we jumped the shark a few times. That might happen. Especially when the heart hit the floor. When the heart hit the floor. The dog ate it, that was
That's when our universe was created.
Exactly.
Hello, my name is Christian. So the school shooting episode was one that really stuck with me to this day. I was just wondering what kind of response that show or that episode got at the time, just since there was no social media.
Huge.
Which episode?
The school shooting.
Oh, yeah.
It was a hard episode. You know, I know I, for one, was someone who, at the time, was definitely afraid of it. Because in '99, Columbine happened, and at the time, it was the first of its kind. I remember I was in school, and a very similar type school, like I'm in Buffalo, New York, and this is in Ohio, similar communities. Thank you, go Bills. You know, it could happen anywhere. And it's a tragedy, beyond, like, it's just, you can't imagine it. So when, I remember that moment, and we stopped school, and we just watched it on TV, and we had a discussion the entire day about it. And even though we weren't in Ohio, we're sullen about it, you know, our senior year of high school. And then we get this script, and I was like, man, what if we scare people? What if people say that you can't do that? These are real people, these are real lives, these are real things. But instead what it did is it brought light to the pain and anguish and fear that we all have as parents, as students, the reality and the weight in the world. That was a heck of an episode. That's all I gotta say. And everyone carried it every day at work too.
Yeah, I remember being afraid of that episode as well when I read it, and I think everybody was. But I also remember when Colin Fickles, right?
Yeah.
When he came to set, and it was the first rehearsal that he did, I think everybody sort of breathed a sigh of relief in a way, because we recognized immediately that this was an incredibly talented person who was taking this very seriously. And it was going to be an examination. It was not going to be exploitation. And so I think there was a real comfort in having him carry that episode, because he was sensational.
Dude, is Jimmy, good old Jimmy. He just had such a vulnerability and an innocence and an emotional stake at core in that moment. And you're right, he could have sunk the whole ship, 100%. A round of applause to Colin for crushing it.
Right. Oh yeah.
Seriously.
Hi, my name's Lucia. On a lighter note, what if you guys were out on a Saturday night? What would you guys be drinking?
If you're out here Saturday night, what you gonna be drinking?
Oh, gosh, I'm getting sober with a splash of soda.
There you go, George Clooney. Some extra money. We sold.
What's that? Probably, yeah. He needed the money.
Yeah, fair. I rarely drink, so, you know, probably got a little formula on my own or something. Typically water. My bedtime's 8.
Hi, my name's Elena. I'm a
big fan of you, Chad, in Riverdale. Edgar was one of my favorite additions to the cast. So my question is, your last episode, you're on the roof of that building, getting into your rocket ship, and you get
So for anyone who didn't know,
what do you think happened to your character in that? Because we do not see what actually happens. Do you think you keep going, or?
I think it's open to interpretation.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, the only thing I was upset about is I really wanted to get in that rocket. True story. Like, I was like, dude, but don't you see me go to space? I get in my rocket. Yeah, I think it's open to interpretation. There's no guarantee that Edgar is no longer with us. You don't see it. And if you remember, when she shot me, she was also part of the farm, so there's no telling if this was all put together as kind of a, you know, a big game, part of the game plan, master game plan, or if Mr. Edgar ever is deceased and has gone on to that big old comet in the sky.
I did spend the rest of the show waiting for you to come back. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm DJ. Oh, that's loud. Sorry. Hey, y'all. I'm DJ Rihanna. Since Lucas and Nathan both kissed Haley, Brooke, and Peyton, which ones were the easiest for you, and which ones were the most difficult for you?
Pass.
Did you say Lucas kissed Haley?
Yeah, when they had the auction off and she was with Lucas and they just had to do like their little quick kiss goodbye. It was part of the end.
You're like half of this is men, you know. My goodness, yeah, that's you know what I do? I like kissing my wife.
Gentlemen, that's how that's done.
Hey guys, I'm Rachel. Thank you so much for doing this. So it's funny you just brought up the heart on the floor. I just rewatched it again with the podcast, so it's super fresh. I've seen it so many times and I still don't understand how you guys kept it together. Like, your guys' conversation about it, like, yeah, he ate the heart. Like, how did you guys, I know you're actors and it's your job, but like, how did you do it?
Wait, the scene where the dog actually eats the heart?
Yes.
Oh.
Well, and then after he was explaining to you because you weren't there. So you're on the river court and he's like, yeah, he ate the heart. And you're like, what do you mean?
Honestly, I don't think it really took anything even like that for us to just start laughing when we shot scenes. It developed very quickly into just the giggles all the time. I don't even know why.
Oh yeah, so from the get-go.
Yeah.
From the get-go, that show was just...
Well, yeah, how would you keep us straight face when you're filming that sequence? Like,
I don't know, I think they got one take of it.
Yeah.
It's just the one that they used. It was, golly, man. It
had to be a better way.
It was soup and fodder. Do you remember the soup?
Yes.
That's what that was. That scene was literally, I think it was made for this. It was like built-in promo for the show. It's like, talking about, dude, there's a dog in the emergency room. The human hospital, not the vet.
Right.
And the dude's stoned to the bone. And he's like, yeah, dude, my dog ate sweet brownies, man. Like, instead of saying, leave, you're fine. Hang out, we'll get you in a minute. Dude passes out. Now the dog has managed to wean his way through the entire place. Nobody said a thing. Meanwhile, the one and only part that we're going to use is rushed in through the same doors. There's no entrance back there where we bring in the orchids. Why? And it's in like a cooler, you know, with no lock on it. You know, the damn, it just goes flying out as he trips over the leash, and the dog's got the munchies, because, well, you do. Conveniently come out, and, well, look at that, it's a hot, whoa. And Dan Scott sitting in the waiting room the emergency room waiting for surgery, not in the, like, get you ready. Such is life.
Dude, I think we need to watch that. It's an excellent retailer.
That's the breakdown of how I saw it.
Hilarious. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I was gonna say, clearly, a lot, with the 9-season run, so many things happened on this show. Was there anything you pitched that maybe came to fruition in an episode?
Well, you wrote an episode.
Yeah, I wrote an episode.
So the entire episode?
I wrote, yes. I wanted to do like an homage to Casablanca.
Yeah.
I mean, that movie just, it's beautiful. And it just changed me so much as a young actor. When I first started off in the industry, I wanted to watch a lot of the old black and whites, and I wanted to watch a lot of the great classic films. And so that one really made an impact on me as a young actor. And I remember season 1, I said, hey, can I write an episode? And they were like, and I think season 2, hey guys, now can I write an episode? And every year I asked, and I would consistently ask, can I write an episode? Can I write an episode? Please let me write an episode. Put me in the writer's room. And so I kind of had an idea after season 5. They're never going to let me. So over the summer, in between season 5 and season 6, I wrote it. And she said, screw it, she's going to write it. See what happens and submit it. And so I did. I wrote the episode, submitted it. And at Warner Brothers, they loved it. Like, this is cool, like what a great idea. And all of us actors were like, oh, it's a departure from what we're used to doing. Like we're gonna dress different, we're gonna be just a little bit different, like we're outside of the storyline, it's great. And so what they did is they said, all right, well let's just take it and tie it inside of the storylines that we already have going. So like we have like a connected beginning and a connected end as a dream sequence. And so, yeah, that came to fruition. And I've been wanting to direct since the beginning, and that happened, and then James went in and he crushed it and kept crushing it throughout the show, directing and directing and directing, and then went on to direct more. And so I think those things.
Yeah, and that was a really fun episode to shoot. I mean, it was not an episode of One Tree Hill. Like they took over another 2 sound stages, built huge sets. We all had wardrobe and camera tests. It was really awesome. It was like shooting a feature film in the middle of the season, you know. So that was cool.
And Joe DeVola told me 20 times, this is the most expensive show of One Tree Hill we've ever shot. Remember.
Maybe that's why we didn't get Gavin's song anymore.
That's why It was art imitating life. It's like, I think it's, it started because a lot of that had to do with, I was always writing in my trailer, and that's what I would do on my breaks, is I would write like poetry, really bad poetry, or just do little write stories. And so I was always kind of submitting things. And I think a lot of that came into the play, and they used a little bit of our own lives in these characters.
Okay, is it my turn?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Kate. I was wondering, real life, who's winning the game of one-on-one?
If this was a football show, it would be a very, very different answer. I don't know how you play one-on-one in football.
Figure it out. Actually, my boy and I do, but we play with a basketball net.
Oh, nice.
We created, like, we do around the world football with a basketball net, and he crushes it. So we just do, you guys ever play around the world?
Yeah. That's cool.
And we just do it playing football and having to throw the football. Very difficult.
I will say though, you train very hard and often for that first season and beyond. Like for like you're not a basketball player, and for anybody that's just jumping into a sport like later in life, it's virtually impossible to like even look like you know what you're doing, and you certainly did. But he worked really hard to portray that aspect of Lucas, and like I think all the players out there, all the Ravens guys, had a lot of respect for that.
Well, it's very natural
Yeah.
on screen.
Thank you guys.
These guys carry, like, they helped me down to the end of the earth. Like, I'm so grateful that was my team, that we were the Ravens, because those guys, they had my back. Like, if I was doing something ridiculous, they're like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, Brett was the one who was just going to bust my jobs. Because when I first started, so when I would play football, I always had my hand a little loose when I drop back. And so in basketball, he started doing the same thing. And then he started to like overdo it. Go, why are you doing Because so he would call me out, like the way guys do. Like we just call each other out for fun things. And he's like, and then it would be like, okay. But then I'm like thinking about my hand the whole time. And the other thing was like in season 1, I used to get called out on my hugs. Go back and watch it, it's hysterical. I have no idea why I did it. But when I would hug my hand, it's because they were so like small, and my hand would go like a claw. And I got called out like Greg Cranage, and he's like, dude, what's the claw? Would you stop with the claw? You gotta cut around the claw. Learn a lot. Oh, it's in there.
Hello, my name is Grant, and I have another Riverdale question actually for Chad. The final season had like a time travel reboot thing where even dead characters came back, Evelyn never came back. So I just wonder, what was Edgar doing unseen outside of the story when everyone else was having their 1950s adventures?
My gosh, that's a great question. Well, what year, how old would Edgar have been?
Everyone was their same age, but in 1955.
But in 1955,
Yeah.
there's no time. Fair. And no cell phones, right? Great. You should probably be having a little too much fun at the farm. And probably had like his own strain of something at the time, which made him the way he is. I don't know, a lot of crunches. I don't know, he was an odd character. You know, I still have an Evil Knievel suit.
I've got to watch this show. I feel like he's making stuff up to mess with me.
You can follow along with a great podcast called Sex Archie. It's fantastic.
I got a mannequin size for my body proportions just so I could keep it on, so when people walk in the front, I have to. I was like, dude, it's just too good not to have it. I asked for it, and I'm like, you know, we don't like to, but they sent it to me for Christmas. And so I popped up that mannequin, I still have it, so thank you. It's a wonderful suit.
Hi, my name is Sarah, and I love you both so much. My question is for both of you. Did you guys take home anything from the set of One Tree Hill?
But what didn't?
Yeah, I took home Nathan Scott's like signature shoe. I guess he got it in the beginning of season 5. Yeah. Yeah, I had to have a pair of those. And a jacket that I really loved. It's like a leather jacket that was kind of like a Letterman jacket. Those are the only 2 things I think.
You didn't take your jersey?
Oh yeah, I took a jersey. That was like super early. I remember I took the jersey from the pilot episode. Yeah. Because I didn't know if we were going to come back. I never saw these people again.
You're not supposed to take from the pilot, so
yeah.
Well, the jerseys changed between the pilot.
Yeah.
They got much nicer.
Your uniforms too.
Yeah, everything. Oh, everything got much nicer. Oh yeah. So the boots that Lucas used to wear, they were Fries, and everyone used to call them the Air Scots. So I just wore them all the time anyway, so I took those, and then all the jerseys in each color, which Fenn has one of them now. We raised a bunch of stuff for C2E2. Part of one, and put it where it belongs, in the hands of the fans.
That's all my people.
I still have one in my, I'm trying to think of anything else. Just chair backs, scripts, Teen Bop magazine.
That's rare these days.
Hey,
That's worth keeping.
You know?
I have all of your Teen Bops too.
Better. I mailed them to you. Yeah, I mean, I think we parted with quite a few items just because that was a huge part of our life.
Thank you.
Thanks,
What was
Sarah.
your favorite jersey out of all of them?
I'm going to chime in real quick because we are running low on time and we're going to have to start wrapping up. So this will be, at the microphone, this will be our last fan question. However, for anyone who wants to ask a question and didn't get the opportunity to, you both are signing today, correct? And fans can have a chance to come up and say hello?
Absolutely. Come see.
Please come say hello. Yeah. I'm slow, so forgive me. I take my time. I like to enjoy you guys, all right?
Hi, my name is Tiana. Oh, sorry.
Hi, Tiana.
And my favorite y'all are Lucas and Peyton. Y'all love, I love. But I'm a therapist, so my question is, looking back now, what's a mental health topic or mental health storyline that you think could have been impactful to cover a bit more deeper than the show originally did?
Well, it's interesting because if we're talking about then, things have changed so very much, right? And that's why I truly do believe, and I'll say this out loud, and I don't know if it'll ever come to fruition, and I feel like the window might be closing, but that's why more now than ever do I feel like we need like a One Tree Hill Generations. You know, like it should be called One Tree Hill Generations or OTH Generations, and it's the new generation dealing with today's issues, everything from how to handle social media to public humiliation, the value of foods, toxicity, culture shock, like loving everyone, discrimination, everything that's out there we can hit far more now than we were hitting then. You know, those topics weren't as right here as they are now. So I feel like it would give kids a great roadmap on how to maybe live a little bit more righteous, you know? That's my opinion.
I was going to say, so like a new show.
A new show.
Generation that covers those topics more in depth now.
Yeah, because I think we covered so much. We jammed so much into I was there 6 years, and that's a lot that we covered. And so much more now exists to be covered, so.
We'll watch it.
That's right.
What does James think? I want both of you to answer.
Sorry. I think that, like, in many ways, the show was covering a lot of mental health topics, but we didn't really have, like, the buzzword for it. I don't know if the words mental health were ever spoken together on the show, period. You know, but obviously everybody was struggling through all kinds of mental health issues. And I guess, yeah, I think it sort of echoes what Chad said. Like, you know, these days that I think we would be tackling the ways to, you know, deal with that and go through the proper channels to get the support you need while you're going through certain types of trauma. Yeah, I think it could have been more instructive in that way, but it was a very different time, you know. And so I think hindsight is always 20/20, and if it was to happen again, I'm sure that those things would be acknowledged. So it's a great question.
It's a really good question. And
Thank
it's
you.
an important question. And mental health is a paradigm that's important. And I remember when I was on the show, I sought help, but I felt like an outlier. And I remember people, at the time, it was very different. And, you know, I'm not naming names, people would like, do you really need to talk to somebody? I think you're fine. You're like, yeah, I do. And I remember this distinctly. There'd be times where, like, on my lunch break, I'd go and I'd see somebody. Because you're 18, 19, 20, 21 years old. You're going to New York and you have thousands of screaming people and you're traveling all over the place. You're burning the candle at both ends. You're working 15, 16, 17, 18-hour days. We worked a 26-hour day once. I remember that was a long day. It was before my birthday. I'll never forget that. You're doing this stuff. You do not know how. We're not built to handle, one, the attention. We're not built to handle that much of a workload, right? And so to find somebody, and the doctor that I saw, he gave me a rubber band. And this rubber band was on my wrist. That's probably why I was wearing bracelets now. And I had it. And every time that I had a negative thought, or I felt like someone was, you know, staring at me, or so anything get negative in my head, he said, just snap it. So you can stop those intrusive thoughts. Your body will see its pain and it'll stop it. And it worked. And every time I would go through a rubber band and it would snap and break, I'd paint. And I would take the broken rubber band and I'd put it into the acrylic work. I called it my rubber band series. It's in a closet, it's god awful. There's like half paint But I'm somebody who 100% validates that, and I think that, I think there needs to be more film and television that bring it up in a how-to-handle way versus just, hey, this is catastrophic, now they off themselves. No, let's not get there. Let's build and help, nurture, and heal, you know?
James, Chad, thank you so much for joining us here today, and thank you all so much for coming.